All right, here we go. Another episode of Dumb Pitches. My guest this week is David Gborie, hilarious comedian who happens to have two of the worst show ideas I've ever heard. Would you like to go to a stand-up show and then have a surprise that you have to do stand-up too, even though you've never done it before? He thought it was a great idea. I think it's a great idea to have him as a guest. Here you go. Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. Thank you for being here and watching. Shout out to our small business sponsor this week, Chef Brian Daniels with My Ninja. If you want a private sushi experience, you want to feel fancy, have a private sushi chef come to your house, that is a possibility. He is based in Atlanta. He does private house calls like a doctor. You can do a date night, you can do events. He also does sushi making classes where he'll come to your home and teach you how to make them. If you're visiting Atlanta or you live in Atlanta, please check him out, My Ninja. If you're not, I recommend following him on Instagram, on his social media, because he posts beautiful, basically artwork sushi. It's fantastic. I look at it every day, honestly. But check him out, Chef Brian Daniels at My Ninja. I'm so excited for today's episode, this week's episode. One of my favorite people, hilarious comedian David Gborie, is here with us. Hi. Look at that.
Does that work?
That's you. That's just smile. That's the beauty of video, you know? They can see.
Yeah. I need all the dimensions for this to work.
Well, I'm very glad that you're here with us. You're doing good?
I think so. You know, watching a lot of basketball.
Well, then you're fine. That's what I say.
Yeah, how bad could it be?
All right. Well, you've had plenty of good ideas. Again, probably one of my top 5 favorite comedians. I think you're hilarious. Other people think so too. You've been on Conan, Comedy Central Presents. You wrote for the ESPY Awards, which I'm very impressed by. You're also have a podcast called All Fantasy Everything, which is very popular and very fun to listen to, where you do fantasy drafts of different things. And another podcast called Shinin' with you and Sam Talent. So plenty of good ideas. Okay.
Yeah, some good. Most of those weren't my idea, but I'll take it.
I mean, saying yes to an idea is probably, you can acknowledge it was a good idea at least, right? You're like,
yeah, I can ignore. I mean, I say yes to most. There's very few stuff I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Right. You're here. There. That's a good one.
No, this is a good idea.
Okay.
This is a good idea. But I've said yes to some bad ones.
Perfect. All right. So now we've got your credibility. We know you've made good decisions, good ideas, and now we want to get into the bad ones. So what did you think of for your bad ideas?
I have two. They were both stand-up comedy shows that I tried to start.
Okay, perfect.
Which is just like, in hindsight. So the first one I think is dumber than... No, they're both pretty stupid.
Okay.
The more I think about it. The first one, when I first started stand-up, and I don't know, tell me if it was like this for you. When I first started it, I was like, boy, this is so great. Everybody should be able to do this. Like, everybody should. It would, like, make you feel better about yourself as a person if everybody tried stand-up comedy one time. So I wanted to do a show where everybody does a set. Everybody, a bunch of people, like, in the audience, you get, like, 4 people who have never done it, and then I headline.
Okay. Did you do this show?
Yeah, I had a trial run at the Dark Room, and it's terrible. It's the worst idea because, A, people who have never done comedy don't want to do it for the most part. You know what I mean?
So these people don't know. Like, the audience just goes to see a show, and you're like, hey, you're going to do a set.
Because that's also the genius promoter in me. I was like, don't tell them. You know what I mean? That's crazy. They'll love the surprise.
Yeah, that's good.
So it was like 8 people The first, because also I didn't know anybody in the city. 8 people in the show. I think two were my friends that were stand-ups, and then 6 were people I barked off the side of the road.
Okay.
Like, did you ever have to do that? Like, hey, come on, come on. Yeah. So then I brought them in, and like it was like 3 college dudes, and they were wasted. So they all for sure
that's like
wanted to
every
do
time
it.
you bark people in, they're always hammered. I don't know, because I mean they have to say like, oh yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'll just go to this show right now. Like
Exactly. It's a drunk thing to do. Where were you walking to that you could just
you could
throw
just
that
stop
off?
and go. Yeah, either they forgot or it wasn't that important. I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. And like, you know how this is why dudes are the worst? When they're drunk, I
This
think
is
that
why.
like I mean, there's so many. This is just on the list for me. When they're drunk, like 99.9% of dudes are pretty sure that they're like the new Chappelle.
Oh yeah.
Like dudes are like really confident that they're just like, what? My thoughts valid for people to pay money for? Yeah.
That's the dude heckler, is like the drunk guy who's like, watch this. I could do. I'm better than this kind of thing. Which
Oh yeah.
I had guys get in a fist fight in the audience when I was on stage once, because there was a guy that was just like heckling like that the whole time, and he literally kept saying like, I'm funnier than everyone, like for the whole show. And then I was headlining, and then they had enough. The audience rebelled against him, and they literally got in a fight with him. But
Oh,
but
that's
yeah.
beautiful though.
So
Like
that's
a mutiny?
yeah, basically. At
Yeah.
one point he was like, he would stop talking to me and just started talking to the audience, and so they were just like talking amongst themselves. And once this fight happens, I'm just like just standing there on stage like watching it. I wasn't saying anything.
Isn't that great though? It's like nature healing itself.
They've created a society within themselves.
Yeah, they govern themselves. They play by their own rules.
So this is the type of person that you have now barked into this show that they're supposed to do a set.
3 of those.
Okay,
3 of those.
3 of those.
And then a group of like, I think it was 2 ladies and 1 guy. And that's kind of the 6, and then my 2 friends. And this is like the first time I have tried to run a show ever. So I also don't know how to run a show in general. So like, I'm going to headline, but you know what else I should do is obviously host, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like
it's your
clearly
show.
like, and this is like at the time where headlining was 15 minutes.
Right.
But then, you know, give them a 5 up top.
Yeah. So now
Get
you
it.
have to do 20 minutes altogether. It's a lot.
Yeah, and I have 7, maybe 9 at this point. So I get up, I try to host, and then I'm trying to explain the concept, and the drunk guys start heckling me. And I'm
From
like,
the get-go.
and I'm like, no, brother, I'm glad you said that because you're going to get a chance to do that. Gotcha. And then I was thinking that they were going to be nervous and I was going to be in control. And then, no, the first guy came up.
He's like, let's do it now. Oh my
Yeah. A lot of street jokes about, like, it was super weird. You know how there's that level of racism that, like, white people have towards white people that you don't know about?
Yeah.
I don't know about?
Yeah.
I guess that was a weird way to frame it. It was just like a lot of like weird like Polish jokes. And
Right.
Then, like,
I don't really
many-
understand it either, but yeah, it's that. That's interesting. That's a very popular, like, Polish jokes are like a thing, you know, like making fun of, which I don't, that's probably because I'm not educated enough to know the history of why there's so many, like what happened over there. But there is a thing of like, we make fun of Polish people. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
But like they make it seem like it's like, I don't know. It was just really strange. And then so I'm like, shit, this is kind of racist. Like, what am I gonna do? What do I gotta do? And then the lady from the group with the two ladies and the guy, is a young black girl who was like college age, just told a story about I don't want to like, I don't know, I don't want to be gross on your show.
I mean,
She told a story about a hookup she had had with a young man that ended up with feces in their bed.
okay. That's what
Somebody,
you went with. This is okay. So the first time you try this, the first guy is racist. The second person immediately goes as blue as possible, basically.
Doo-doo in the bed.
Yeah.
Also though, none of them know how stand-up works, which I didn't think about. So I'm lighting them, and they both they're like, yeah, okay, and
they think they're killing it. You want an encore or something? You're waving your phone. You're like, this is going awesome.
And then the only audience is my two friends who know how to do stand-up, and then their dumb friends. And then a third guy gets on, starts to do a joke, I think gets nervous, and then just like, I gotta go pee. And he sits down, and then I proceed to try to do my last 15. Everybody cleared out by the time I got to like 7-8 more minutes, and I closed it out strong for my friends.
Wow. What? I mean, they could be stand-up comedians because they did their sets and then left immediately afterwards. So
yeah, it's just like a crazy. I don't know who would want to watch that show.
Well,
like now as an adult, like
I love featuring for someone that I really like watching. Like if I opened for you, I like that because I've already done my set, so I can pay attention to yours. You know,
yeah, that's like
because
the fun
otherwise you're always thinking about your set and what's gonna happen. And so for them, well, not knowing, and then now you're like, hey, also, I know you came to watch a show, but you are the show too.
You are like, and also that's the crazy part in my head was like, what? I just wanted to spring that, like, what? Why would anybody be like, oh, dope, it's not a Ray Charles concert, I'm gonna play the piano? Oh, this is a great way. And like I was like, dude, this is gonna be like, because this was back when like erotic fan fiction and stuff had first started, and there were like these cool shows touring the country, and I was like, this is one of those.
You're gonna go.
This idea, I'm going all the way to Sketchfest.
That's funny because even shows that are like that are like a Kill Tony, those are still stand-up comics. You know, it's like people knew what they were doing. It wasn't just. And I love the fact that you pulled him in off the street.
It was just like, what a mess. And afterwards, the guy Jim who ran the dark room, like I kind of was like trying to convince myself that it was okay. And the guy who like let me use the space was like, so that's the last one of those, yeah? You know what I mean? Very like not giving me a choice in the matter. Just like, okay, so that was a crazy experiment.
Got it. Well, thank you, Jim. I feel like he saved you from
trying
to do it again. Would you tweak it in any way to like have it work better? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
maybe tell them beforehand. So
I would tell them what they were coming in for. Okay. But that, because now in my head I'm like, so then I'm just gonna get an audience full of people who just are hoping that they get to do stand up.
Yeah,
that's an open mic.
That's just an open mic.
I just set up an open mic. On like a,
I like the idea of you pitching it to people. That's clearly an open mic, but you're like, no, it's different. It's people who want to try new jokes or do stand up for the first time, then they're the audience, but they also perform, and everyone's like, yeah, that's an open mic.
Yeah, but like they like comedy, and that's why they're there, and they're
like they think they want to do it, maybe. So
no, I told a few people before I did it, and no one was positive in response.
Really?
Because it's a stupid.
Well, yeah. I would be more concerned if your friends were like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should do that. Like, they're just trying to hurt you.
Yeah. I think that is partially why they even came, was sort of this, like,
just to see it burn.
Yeah, let's see this suck.
So they didn't go up, your two friends that do stand-up?
No, they didn't save me. They just watched the whole, like, from the beginning, watched it all happen, the whole ship go down.
Okay, so it's 3 people did go up. 3 audience members did go up.
2 of the drunk dudes, and then the
2
one
of the drunk guys. Okay.
Poop lady.
Okay.
She's not a poop lady.
But she talked. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like guilty by association.
How long was the whole show?
That's the other. I didn't know how long shows were. It was really probably 40 to 48 minutes. Because I didn't know how to. I didn't know. I had no idea that shows were supposed. Because the only shows I had gone to was open mics at that time, and they are 7 hours.
Yeah. But you're like,
So-
this isn't an open mic because you're really sticking to that. So
Also, I was lighting them at 5. So 5 times 3 plus my 15 and then 5. It was fucked from
like,
Jump Street.
we planned a whole 35-minute show, and
Yes. And we went 10 minutes longer than expected, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, it was just like, I think about it now, it's like, you ever make a decision that's like exactly wrong? Like all the parts and then all the parts leading up to it
Yeah.
were wrong?
yeah.
That's what this was.
But you didn't know at the time. Like, you really felt like this was a good idea.
Yeah, I thought, like I said, I was like, oh, well, a lot of people have cool theme shows. Like, that's like, it's going to be, like, what's the difference between erotic fan fiction? I don't even remember. I was trying to remember or find a flyer. I can't even remember what I called it.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. I know it was something dumb, though.
I would be
it was-
interested to know what the name was.
I'm sure it was just like, gotcha, with David Gborie. And, like, in my head, I really saw, like, this is going to do theaters. Just like, and everybody will come. And they'll all be nervous about trying to do the thing that they paid to watch professionals do.
That is interesting because the idea of it being our job and then you showing up, it's like you paying your copay at the doctor and then being like, well, what do you think's wrong? You know, like,
Yeah, like some skill that took like a long time to figure out.
yeah, obviously.
And I'm just assuming people would want to
try it.
like a take and bake pizza kind of situation.
Papa Murphy's comedy. Here we go.
I was gonna be the Papa Murphy's of stand. I still think I could figure out a way to earn that nickname.
Yeah, we could figure it out. Let's start it now.
Take and bake.
Now when
That's
people are like, oh, you know David Gborie, I'd be like, oh, Papa Murphy's? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Papa Murphy. Yeah.
Okay, so we always ask for people to comment if they think. I mean, it's pretty clear it is a bad idea. But
There's
see
not really any good angles.
if you saw a show where you knew that was happening, and it was like a good comic that you liked, and then they were like, also you can have a set if you want, but you have to be in the audience. Would you go? Would you do it? Would you get on stage? If you were barked into this situation and then David was like, ha, you have to do a set, would you get up? Would you tell the story about shitting the bed or whatever?
That was also the crazy thing of all the I remember it pretty vividly, and the way she told it was graphic, but not funny.
Okay, it was more of a shock, like,
Yeah, because she like said what happened. You know what I mean? Like, I won't go any deeper.
I mean, yeah, I think we can connect.
I think everybody understands.
Connect the holes on our own.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to do, and then she pooped everywhere. Yeah, and it was like, oh man. Like, you know when you do shows where you're like, this group of people would never exist together outside of this exact thing we're doing right now?
Yes, I think
it was
that
one
also.
of those.
Okay.
It was one of those, yeah.
And then they have to tell jokes to each other. Like, they're not supposed to be together. And then now you have to tell.
Which also was a strange thing because you could tell that the frat guy, you could tell that his other friends had heard his Polish jokes.
Oh, they like didn't.
But you could also tell that lady, her friends had not heard. So, like, at one point, the girl's like, Patrice, what? Or her name wasn't Patrice, but it was, so, like, she was like, whatever her name was, what? Like, she couldn't believe it. Yeah, it's a terrible idea.
That is hilarious that they went the opposite direction in, like, every way. It was like, I want to do these street jokes that I know they've heard. And she's like, I'm going to do storytelling.
She was
something
shocked and
they've
awe.
never heard. Yeah, for sure.
Also, the groups weren't sitting next to each other.
Of course not.
Yeah, because why would they all just
No.
sit in the front row and make it easier for a big dummy? You
Oh,
know? Yeah, that's probably my worst idea in stand-up ever.
that's pretty good though. I mean, it's a really good bad idea.
It's a good bad.
Yeah, it's good at being bad. I do want to know. You have to check back in if you figure out what you called it, because I'll post
I could
it.
probably find the
I
flyer
mean-
somewhere. I just couldn't see it.
I like that you would still have the flyer for that, too. Like, here's
Well, I
this
think-
traumatic, terrible idea. I'm gonna keep this.
Yeah, just to remember. You know what I mean?
You
Well,
got to know
here's-
where you've come from.
This is what happens when you try.
Okay, what was the other show idea?
This one, we only got to do one at this club that's now closed in Oakland. This is also a really, in hindsight, a really stupid idea. I think it's because, like, all the people in LA were doing free shows, and I was like, okay, that's cool, free shows. But I was like, I'm going to kick it up a notch and have a free show, and we called it free beer. So we wanted to also give, but
Why do I feel like I remember this? But
I feel like I might not have been the only person who did this.
okay.
So we called it free beer, but the beer that we were giving away for free was Mickey's,
Oh, okay.
which is not. You can't like tell people they're gonna have free beer and then give them free 40, right?
Right.
And it was roughly a backpacks full of 40s that I had. 'Cause
You're like, we're not expecting a lot.
and we had Dixie cups, and we just filled all the Dixie cups.
Nice.
And during the show,
Like you get
we're-
free beer. It's a shot of beer, but you get
It's a shot of beer, but also the show was free. So the venue was like, do you know Dash? Do you know that guy Dash? Into anime. I don't know. He for a little bit had his own venue in Oakland called, I think it was called the Third Door or something like that. It didn't even last a year.
Okay.
Like it was like small time period, but they were needing shows bad. And they were like, yeah, you can come and try it here. Because they were like, we're crazy. And then also after the first show, they were like,
no.
so you're not going to charge and you're going to give them free beer. What are we going to, this isn't,
You're paying
there's
for
no
people
business here.
to listen to you.
But my thing was, I was like, well, we'll get the show so popular because people want to drink free beer that they'll come to all the other shows at Third Door.
Oh,
Because
it's just
it was like a hype beast situation. I was gonna be the supreme. Also, the people who want free beer, that's maybe not. I mean, another guy did it a couple years later in San Francisco, and it was way smarter and better. Like he had like sponsors, and the beers were sponsored. And
okay,
you had to put down your email address and be on a list.
got it.
And that's how you got the free beer. But I was like, just come in, man.
Just come
I'll give
and
you
watch and drink free beer, and not
10
pay attention. Maybe.
I'll drink one of the backpack 40s, but then the rest will be distributed amongst the
You can have
people.
I like the Dixie cup thing too. It's like you can have free beer, but not your own.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to share it.
That would have been way smarter in hindsight. Have you ever run a beer show? That's
No,
not a
just
bad
listen
idea.
to some bad ideas. I've done shows. In fact, I think in Denver where, well, maybe they sold those, but it was like donation based. But then they gave away beers.
Right.
I did shows near UCLA for a while. I was helping somebody with shows, and it was like I'm having flashbacks from the story you were telling before of that's what the audiences felt like. It was just people we had barked at and like just groups that shouldn't have been in the same room, and yeah, it was bad. But so I did have like beers there, but it was a paid show, I think. I don't know. But that was kind of the barking process, like come watch the show and you can have a beer and wow.
What? It's one of those things where you get what you ask for.
Mm-hmm.
You ask random people on the street if they want free beer,
Right.
and you say that before comedy, like you're gonna get people who want.
Well, and then the person who's not like, what is the catch? What are you pulling me in. This is a trap, right? The person's just like,
Yeah.
sure. That's not a good audience member.
No. Most audience members pulled from the street. I'm going to hot take on dumb pitches. I'm going to say it. Most audience members pulled directly from the street within 30 minutes of the show starting. Bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it.
No,
I'm
I
a bad
agree.
boy.
I've always been anti barking and like flyering outside like crazy because I'm like, first of all, who's like, that's not helping really. But then if you do convince people to come in, like, it's not the audience that you want, you know?
Never.
Why waste
You
your
know what?
time?
You know what I get sometimes I've had where I would bark some people in, and then they would keep talking to me. It's like they'd be too rowdy, and they'd be like, "Hey, big man in the green, he said I could come in here." Yeah, no, he said it was cool, big man. And then now they're yelling at you, and you're like, "Fuck."
That is a weird thing because I've had that happen where you bark someone in and then they're the problem, and then you're like, like as that heckler, you're like, you fucking asked me to be here, you know, like why are you kicking me out now? Like that's what happened. Those UCLA shows, we got some like, I don't even know. I didn't bark this lady in, but she was very clearly homeless and like hammered drunk, but she just wanted to come in for the beers, obviously. And then she'd like go back and forth between like angrily heckling and falling asleep. Like that's how drunk this person was. And I was like, why would you want to perform for this person? Like just having the physical body is not better than not having that person in there. Why are you doing this?
I think you have to learn that though. In the beginning, you really don't like. You're like, yeah, there's 30 people here, and I'm good at my job. I'll figure out how to turn it around. And now it's like, nah, it's okay. Just let them eat dinner.
Yeah, you guys do. Do you want to come? That's what I want. I want an audience that would like to be there.
Have you ever seen comedy in your whole life?
Right. If
Oh,
you were
there's-
given the opportunity, would you see it on purpose? You know,
Yeah.
like,
No? Well, guess what starts in 5 minutes?
and you're
Red
gonna do
Robin?
it. No.
Yeah, and you're going to do it. Oh, man. It was... God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
I mean, I love you, but it really is stupid.
Yeah, it's...
I think that's a pretty. You made good points about the whole starting stand up. Like for some reason, there is this thing when you first start where you're like, I gotta change the game. I gotta do something different. Like nobody's thought of this, and it never crosses your mind that there's a reason nobody did it. You know, like you're just,
Yeah. Or that, like, you're like, I must be a comedic genius.
right? How
It
has
must
nobody
be-
done this? Why aren't people performing in grocery stores? Oh, because people are just trying to go about their damn day. Why are you?
Yeah.
Nobody. I feel like if your thought was, here, these people have never been to a show before. They're gonna have a great time enjoying whatever weird thing I made up, and then they're gonna love stand-up. That's the opposite of what's gonna happen. They are now going to hate stand-up because they think it is someone telling racist jokes followed by someone telling a story about shit. You know what? Which it kind of is sometimes, but still.
It is.
Yeah,
I've done
it
that
is awesome.
show a million times. I've done
And then
that
those people
exact
don't
show.
come back.
Do you ever wonder, as long as you've been doing stand-up, how many people's last comedy show you've been a part of?
I've been the reason. No.
Or not even been the reason, but you've been on a show where people are like, I'm never gonna...
Yeah. I think it's been probably 50 where it's the first show they've ever been to and the last one they've ever been to. Like they just
Yeah.
did not have a good time. And I hope that it wasn't me, but I've had people go because they want to see someone that's very famous that they know from movies. And then it is something, and oh, we were on a show like this together. Oh my God, I forgot that you were there for that.
Are we allowed to say that? I won't say the name.
Yeah, if you give me Venmo me $20, I'll tell you who it is. It's the same as my handle here. No, yeah. So that happens often. People come to see someone who's now doing stand up that maybe didn't before, do not get what they are expecting. Sometimes it's very dark or just bad, and then they're like, "This is stand up. I hate it." You know.
That is, because they do the... They'll go, and then, like, those people who are like that always do the thing, right? Like, they come on stage, and they're like,
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, this is gonna be the best show.
He's doing
oh,
the
man,
thing.
He did it. And then it's just like 20 minutes later, it's just like my dad died and I was in a dark place.
This is the exact show that I was thinking of.
No, I remember it very well.
They walk out and they're like, nope.
Can I tell you, I had a year where I opened for that. I featured for that person like 7 more times.
On purpose. Did he ask you? It's a man. Did he ask you to come and open?
No.
Okay.
He didn't even remember me.
It just happened. He wouldn't. But
we in multiple states. I've worked with that guy.
That's funny because I had it happen here again. And I opened for, and it was like completely different where they like shortened his set by a lot. And then there was like 4 people that went before him, but then still everyone walked out at the end. They had to like give everyone free tickets. It was bad.
Yeah, it's almost like they can't be making money if he's walking that many people, right?
Yeah, I would assume not. I don't know. Okay. So free beer idea, which I think people would say, yes, I would go to that show. But if you were barked in off the street, I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's just not going to be a good show. That's all.
Also, you were barked in off the street by someone on the street who was also drinking one of the free beers. But just like...
Got him in my backpack. It does feel like a trap. Like if I was traveling and some guy was like, hey, do you want free beers out of my backpack so you could come watch the show? I'd be like, you're gonna kill me, right? Like that's not...
Yeah, you'd be like, I've heard about you gypsies or whatever it was going on.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Those were great great ideas. Okay, so yeah, in the comments tell us if you would go to those shows, I guess, or you'd have to be at the free beer show to... What if you put them together? You get people drunk enough to then do... It's still going to be bad. I don't know.
That would be better, though.
Would
I think that would work better than both of them on their own, right?
Yes. Okay. I just want to reiterate that David is very good at stand-up.
I know how to do it now, I swear.
He does. He figured it out. He went to a show where they forced him to do it. That's how he started. So where can people find you? Social media, podcasts, whatever. Where's the best places to find you on the internet? Support your stuff.
Ah, boy. I'm not really on Twitter much anymore because it makes me sad. I'm on Instagram at CoolGuyJokes87. All Fantasy Everything. If you Google that, they'll tell you how to watch it. And then, I have a website, officialdavidgborie.com. Oh, there's no dates on my website now because there's no dates. But when dates come out. And when you see me, tell all your friends I was 6 feet tall.
And Papa Murphy. All right.
And Papa Murphy. The take and bake of comedy.
I think that sounds like you got to think about it at home. Like you just laugh later. Like,
yeah. Oh, Papa. Okay. I got it. I didn't see what he was doing there. No, but then I went home and I baked it and ate it myself.
Oh, my God. All right. What a beautiful, fun episode. I had a great time. Thank you so much for being here, David Gborie. And what... If you see him do stand-up, somebody else will have produced the show. Be confident in that. Yeah. So it'll be good. He's just going to do very funny stand-up for you. It'll be good.
Or it'll be your first time.
Yes.
So you got that going for you.
It'll be memorable either way.
Yeah, I'll just surprise you. Like, also, you got to do it. You entertain me.
All right. Well, I've been very entertained by this entire episode. Again, shout out to our small business sponsor, My Ninja. Get some sushi going in Atlanta. Go see David and subscribe here to the channel. Keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes.